and begins down the passageway. Elsewhere, Captain Antinnes is flying a supply ship when his crew picks up a distress call from an escape pod. He pulls up the hologram.
Master Kenobi? What are you doing all the way out here?
It's quite the story, Captain.
I'll tractor you in.
His crew tells him that there's something else out there. They point through the window to a tiny dot floating among the stars. He peers through some binoculars and can barely believe what he sees. The tiny green figure of Yoda floating through space, cocooned in a ball of energy.
What in the name of the Force?
On the peaceful world of Alderaan, Anakin has finally returned home to his pregnant wife, and they are arm in arm, strolling through the idyllic gardens of the capital. Remember that Padme believes he's working as the navigator on a space freighter, which he is, but he also uses those times away to actually be trained as a Sith. So usually he says that the trip takes longer than it actually does to account for that extra time of him getting trained.
Then we docked in a Bothan spaceport to refuel, and I met a few of them.
Bothan? Really? Is it true about their fur that it's always moving around?
It's true. Funny thing is though, as I kept talking to them, I realized it's not random movement. Their fur actually changes based on their emotions.
Really?
It's almost imperceptible, but since I could sense their emotions, after a while I was able to match their emotions to the movement of the fur. If you ever have to make a deal with them for business, I can teach them to you.
Remember in Return of the Jedi, it was Bothans who were credited for stealing the plans of the second Death Star?
Many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Well, they look like this. And yes, their fur does indeed change shape with their emotions, and that's part of the reason why they got caught with the Death Star plans and many of them died, because the movement of the fur would give them away. So here I'm just kind of giving a little bit of a hint that maybe that's because Vader knew how to read those movements of the fur, so he taught it to others. Just kind of like a weird little Easter egg for like the super Star Wars fans out there. They take a seat at a park bench and continue talking. Padme says she's thirsty, so Anakin walks over to a small vendor to buy her a drink. As he does, a few drunk guys are walking down the footpath, goofing around with each other. The closest one isn't paying attention and swings his arm out while he's laughing, hitting Padme in the side of the head.
Oh, I'm sorry, lady.
All of a sudden, a robotic hand seizes him by the hair and lifts him up onto his toes.
It was an accident.
The two other drunks edge towards Anakin, but the chill in his eyes stops them where they are.
That's my wife you just hit.
I'm sorry.
She's pregnant. If you'd knocked her over.
I'm fine, Anakin. Let him go.
He drops him and his friends quickly collect him and rush him away. Padme tugs at his hand.
Hey, I'm all right. Sit down.
He takes a seat next to her, but his attention is still focused on the guys leaving. She takes his face in her hands and turns his head to look at him.
The war's over now, remember? You ended it.
She taps a finger onto his temple.
But you need to end it in here as well. You're gonna be a father soon, and that child will need a father who's at peace.
Anakin's face softens and he smiles.